In this episode of Locked On Capitals, your Washington Capitals defeated the Columbus Blue Jackets 7-2. The Caps will be without TJ Oshie. And we talk about the game tonight versus Carolina. We'll talk about all of that and more next on Locked On Capitals.
Locked On Capitals, your daily podcast on the Washington Capitals. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, hello and welcome in to this edition of Locked On Capitals. I'm so glad you decided to join me today. Thank you for making Locked On Capitals your first listen. As always, we are free and available wherever podcasts are available. Well, wow, the Washington Capitals really handed it to the Columbus Blue Jackets tonight as they defeated them 7-2. It was a game of true offensive power and just the will of the Washington Capitals to never say die and just keep trying to peck away as they get more and more points. And the Capitals are just firing on all cylinders right now, and so is Vitek Vanecek. So we'll talk about that to start out the game, how they played tonight. Then in the second part, we will talk about the loss of TJ Oshie and what that means to the Washington Capitals. And then in the final segment, we will talk about the Capitals game against Carolina tonight. So, wow, what a game. As I say, that the Washington Capitals just played very well. But to start off, and even better than that, bigger news, the Caps have re-signed forward Joe Snively to a 2-year, $1.6 million contract. That contract has a AAV of $800,000. And if you think about it, that is getting a great player at a cheap price. So that is some big news for the Washington Capitals. You know, to be honest with you, before this season, I mean, you heard the name around, but until he actually made it to the big team, it didn't really, it didn't resonate at all with who he was. But Snively has been a pleasant surprise, and he is just a product of next man up. And so good on Joe Snively, and we look to have him for at least the next 2 years. So tonight it was Korpisalo versus Vanecek Vanecek tonight, and it didn't last very long. Korpisalo got pulled. The healthy scratches tonight were Erwin Kempny and then Veggioni, who actually might see some time tomorrow if Oshie is not good to go. Vanecek by far has the better record of the two goalies tonight. Vanecek is 15-7-5 before tonight's game with a 2.36 goals against average, a .917 save percentage, and 3 shutouts, where Korpisalo was 6-9-0 with a 3.95 goals against average, a .883 save percentage, and 0 shutouts. So Vanecek leads the leagues in shutouts with 3. So it was a pretty good feeling that he was going to do well against a Columbus team that, to be honest, has not played that well this year. So good on Vanecek for continuing to just kind of hum along and do what he does best, and that's play lights out hockey. It is assumed that Ilya Samsonov will most likely play tonight against the Carolina Hurricanes, even though sometimes they like to go with a hot hand. I wouldn't be against going with Vanecek, especially since they are playing the Carolina Hurricanes, who are number 1 in the Metropolitan Division. The Caps led the season series tonight 2-1 over the Columbus Blue Jackets. The Caps' road record this year is 18-7-5. And the last time the Capitals played the Blue Jackets, it was a game winner by Shiri. So, I mean, and he played really well tonight. Shiri always shows up to play, and they kind of did that odd thing tonight that Columbus did that I'm seeing done more and more often around the league, and that's pulling your goalie really early in the game. I'm not really sure what that's about. I've seen Dean Evison do that in Minnesota quite often, but this is by far the earliest I've ever seen them pull a goalie. And I thought it was funny that they kind of zoomed up the camera on the coach's face when Shuri scored that goal right away. So, I mean, I understand why he did it. I mean, to a certain extent that his team was down by a lot of goals, and he thought, well, what else do I have to lose? So that's what he did. And another guy that came out to play tonight was Anthony Mantha. And wow, what a pleasant surprise Anthony Mantha has been. As you know, he missed a substantial amount of time with that shoulder injury, but since he's come back, he has been a real infusion of productivity, offensive productivity, and it's just so happy to have him back. And here is what Anthony Mantha had to say.
To come back, step into the lineup, and be contributing to the extent that you've been contributing here for the last week?
Feels great. I mean, I work extremely hard for that 4 months, and it just feels good to be out there, be playing, having fun, and I mean, it's awesome. The boys are cheering me on.
During those 4 months, did you visualize anything like this or think about things like this?
No, I mean, I was obviously focused on coming back strong, coming back as soon as possible, but not really of having an impact like I had over the past couple games.
What you see on the first one?
It's just a quick play. Obviously, Oshie just tapped it up, and I knew I was on a breakaway. The goalie didn't really bite on that first initial fake of the shot, so I kind of went to my backhand, and 5-hole it just trickled, so that's basically it.
You guys break a string of, I think, 4 straight games in which you trailed in the third, came back to win. How good did it feel to just get a lead, add to it, and hold down?
Yeah, I mean, the first period wasn't the period we really wanted. They were in our zone most of the period, and we were just trying to defend, but we came back to the locker room with a 2-0 lead, and we just kind of built off of that, and we ended up putting the game away.
How big was Vitek in his first 20 minutes?
Unbelievable. I mean, the whole night, obviously, they had a couple power plays, and he was strong as always in the last couple months, and he's playing unreal.
You feel their desperation tonight, obviously, and to keep, to win, maybe keep their playoff hopes.
Yeah, I mean, we knew they were trying to kind of catch us right now, so we knew it was kind of a 4-point game, even if there's 20 games left. But we also knew they played last night, so we wanted to put pressure on them, put the puck in deep, and just get on a throat check.
Did you feel like similar to the other night, that first period kind of just really energized you guys, and just that break? Was it a breakthrough? Did you feel like?
Yeah, I mean, like I just said, we didn't play our best period in the first. Vitek kept us in there, and obviously 2-goal lead, so we kind of regrouped between the first and second and just came stronger.
What goes into getting another 2 points against another team that has to play and travel tonight?
I mean, it's to get out of here, get some rest as much as possible. Tomorrow night's going to come quick again, and we've had a couple 2-2, so we know what we're expecting, and we'll be ready.
So that's Anthony Mantha talking about the game tonight. And like I say, just a real pleasant surprise to see him back and to come back in top form. To be a bit unexpected, to be honest with you, especially since he suffered a severe shoulder injury there. Like I say, it was just a real pleasant surprise to see him come back, because sometimes when those players come back from, plays like that, sometimes they don't always necessarily come back at full capacity. And another player tonight that played pretty lights out, I got to say, is Martin Faravari. He got a goal tonight, and he's a big physical presence out there. He's one of those young players that I talked about that is kind of that infusion of youth to a veteran team. And here's what he had to say about the game.
What you see on your goals? It's kind of unusual for one defenseman to send another one in on a 2-on-0 like that.
Yeah, like I mentioned during the period, so Carly made a nice pass to Sprong, just bounced over his stick. I kind of ended up get a breakaway, and try to make the play. It went through, so I mean, I'm happy for it.
Well, that's 5 for you this year. You're the first Caps rookie defenseman to get 5 goals in a season since Carly did it 10 or 11 years ago. I mean, what does that mean to you?
It's really nice. Obviously, everyone likes to score the goals. It's always nice when I score, but I mean, I'm focused on my defensive game, but like I said, I'm trying to improve my offensive part, and feels always nice to score.
I was going to say, the defensive part of your game has been good, and it is the main part of your game, but you've shown some good offensive ability. If I'm remembering right, I think 4 of those 5 goals are you jumping up into the play. I can only remember one that was like a point shot.
That's what I'm trying to work on. I'm still young. I'm trying to work on it when we got the practices. We'll work on those movements, and with my skating, I think I ended up in a lot of situations like this in a rush and trying to jump and help the forwards. During the rush.
How big was Vitek for you guys, especially in the first period of this time?
He's great. He's done a really great job all season. Tonight too, it was a really hard game for him. A lot of whistles tonight, and it's really not easy for a goalie. Always whistle. A few penalties we had to kill, and it was really great.
So that is Martin Faravari talking about the play of the Capitals tonight and the play of Vitek Vanecek. I think that is just kind of the consensus among all players and fans out there is how great it is to have Vitek Vanecek out there, just kind of stonewalling everyone out there. And he's just playing so lights out, and it's such a pleasant surprise to have him out there since the play of Ilya Samsonov has been consistent. All right, so after the break, we're going to continue to break down the game, and we're going to talk about the loss of TJ Oshie potentially. But first, it's that time of year again as college basketball tournament is fully upon us. From all the latest odds, contests, and player props, BetOnline.net is the number one source for all your sports betting needs and info. BetOnline remains the best spot for all of your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. And it's not just basketball. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sporting wagering information needs, including live betting and your favorite Vegas casino games. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, where the game starts. So, like I say, just continue to keep playing Capitals hockey out there. That's what it's all about. And what is Capitals hockey? That is playing with full aggression and getting the defense involved on the play. As you saw Martin Faravari getting a goal tonight, and it's pretty common to see Orlov get a goal out there as well. In the game tonight, you saw 2 goals from Anthony Mantha, one from Connor Sheary, one from Evgeny Kuznetsov, one from Connor McMichael, which was finally good to see him get off the schneid there, as he is constantly shooting at the net, but not very often hitting the back of the net. So just a real pleasant surprise. Vitek Vanecek made 39 saves on 41 shots, and just a real great team win, and kind of an odd game to a certain extent. Like I said, it's not every day that you see a player score on his own net, and it was kind of a sweet moment, I got to be honest with you, because that guy was mixing it up with Hathaway in the corner there, and then you saw Tom Wilson get involved. And Tom Wilson and Hathaway, you're not going to find 2 bigger sandpaper personalities in the NHL. So if you want karma, instant karma, that was it, him scoring on his own net, and I couldn't stop from laughing as I watched the game tonight, and just a real pleasant surprise. And this kind of puts away any hopes of the Columbus Blue Jackets at moving forward at all. They are 31-28-3 and behind the Capitals, and it doesn't seem like they're going to catch them. The Capitals are 34-18-10. So, like I say, that kind of just cements where they are for the season. And I think that they are most likely going to be sellers as we head towards the trade deadline, which is going to be this Monday. And like I say, to start it off, Mantha got that great goal, 1-0, with Oshie with the assist. And just like I say, just a real pleasant surprise with Mantha out there. He came back and is playing so great. And then McMichael breakaway, but ruled a hand pass by Dmitry Orlov. And that was one of the ones where he got that breakaway, and I'm like, McMichael, come on, go, score. I'm just really pushing and pulling for that guy because, he's doing everything right except finding the back of the net. So for him to get that was just a really great moment. And then that Mantha goal, that crazy goal off the backboards, and then bounced off Korpisalo. It put the Caps up 2-0. And just Mantha just seems to be lucky. It just seems like luck follows him everywhere, or great skill. Let's call it that, great skill. Mantha on the year has in 17 games has 6 goals, 5 assists, and a +3 rating. And in the first half and throughout, Vanecek was hot early. That is the common theme tonight. In the big takeaways is the great play by Anthony Mantha and Vitek Vanecek. Faravari to start the second gets a goal 5-hole, puts the Caps up 3-0. That's Faravari's 5th goal of the season with assists from Sprong and Carlson. That's what I'm talking about, getting that defense involved in the game as well. That's kind of Peter Laviolette's style of hockey. It's not just the forwards scoring goals. It's getting the defense up into the rush and scoring games as well, or goals as well, excuse me. And then they did it. They finally had to do it. They pulled Korpisalo. Korpisalo is a goalie that should sound familiar to everyone because he is one of the goalies that is going to be available on trade deadline. I think the Capitals should probably steer clear of him. Like I said, if you're going to get a different goalie, you should upgrade. You should not get someone that's not as good for sure. And then Merzlikins came in. Merzlikins, who is the franchise goaltender of the Columbus Blue Jackets, and he came out and played pretty well. He got into that altercation with Tom Wilson, which made me quite irritated, where Tom Wilson was driving towards the net, and he just took his stick and thought it would be okay to hit Tom Wilson. And, I don't know what people are thinking like that. I think that the goaltender knows that he's kind of protected, and that if Tom Wilson came after him, it would pretty much be all of the Columbus Blue Jackets chasing after him. Because let's face it, Tom Wilson could wipe the floor with Merzlikins. But anyway, Mantha came and did the right thing. It's team tough. That's what you got to be in the NHL, is team tough. And he hit his stick to the ground. He ended up getting a penalty because of it. But sometimes it's not about getting the penalty. It's about doing what is right. Merzlikins on the season is 22-15-3 with a 3.37 goals against average, a .904 save percentage, and 2 shutouts. So not too shabby for Elvis Merzlikins. As Vitek Vanecek has 3 shutouts, so not quite as good, but still, I think Columbus has a bright future in net. And then there was that unfortunate situation where Orlov was sandwiched between 2 players, and then Ovi did the right thing, and he got involved because, Ovi doesn't get involved in nearly as many fights as he used to. But I think that when it's one of his countrymen, I think he thinks to himself, no, that's not going to happen, not when I'm on the ice. And I wouldn't mess with Orlov just alone. The guy's huge. And as you saw, he threw him to the ground. So Orlov got 2 minutes for roughing, and then Columbus's Kularli got 2 minutes for roughing plus an illegal check to the head, so 4 minutes. So I hope it was worth it for him to do that. And, the Capitals just, they're going to take advantage of you making mistakes like that. And then in that next play, like I was talking about, Merzlikins hits Wilson up high with his stick, and Manthony hits his stick and gets the penalty. And what a dumb play. Just a stupid play in frustration on the part of the Columbus Blue Jackets. That's all it is sore losers, to be honest with you. They know their season's done, and they wanted to play spoiler to the Capitals. End of report. There's no doubt about it. And then Columbus finally gets on the board. Bjorkstrand gets goal, his 22nd goal, a tic-tac goal that went off Vitek Vanecek, and it was 3-1 Capitals. And, they had a little bit of fight in them there. They weren't going to just take this lying down. And so Bjorkstrand gets a goal, and he is playing very well for the Columbus Blue Jackets. It makes you wonder if they are sellers and if they would be planning on selling or trading away Bjorkstrand, because a lot of times teams do that. If they realize this is over and it's not working with this lineup, let's push some of these players out. And, I think the Capitals would like to pick up someone like Bjorkstrand. 22 goals, that's not too bad. And then Ovi gets a goal from the left circle, puts the Capitals up 4-1. And Alex Ovechkin just keeps chipping away at that goal. He's going to catch Gordie Howe sooner or later. It's probably not going to be this year just based on the gap between Ovechkin and Gordie Howe. But you got to do it one by one, and eventually he will end up surpassing him. And then it'll be no one between him and Wayne Gretzky. Wilson gets a cross-checking penalty on Peke. This stems from the net crashing earlier. And I think that when they crashed the net on Vitek Vanecek, that is what stirred everyone up. That's what got Hathaway mad. That's what got Wilson mad. And Wilson was simmering. He was on the side, on the bench there, and he said, I'm not going anywhere. Of course, you don't really have that option. If the ref tells you you're going to the penalty box, you're going to the penalty box. But I think that Wilson sometimes, his temper gets the best of him, but that's who he is. He's team tough. He is the one that stands up for the Washington Capitals, kind of the junkyard dog out there sometimes. He's got to be the one that stands up and be, that big presence that says, you're not going to do that to our goaltender. You're not going to do that to this team. So good on Wilson for doing it. I'm not a real supporter of fighting, but if you have to, you have to. And I think that was the right thing to do in that situation. So Columbus won. They were only had one. They were 1 for 3 on the power play, and then in the third, Laine got a goal, and it made it 4-2 Caps. And Laine is another one of the guys who I hear their name circulated around there that might be on the trade block. Just a real kind of quiet guy, but has a real great goal-scoring touch. And then Kukin, who I was talking about earlier, is the one that shot it in his own net. And then it was 5-2 Capitals. And like I say, just a karma thing there, just based on the crappy play out there by a lot of the Columbus Blue Jackets. I laughed when that happened because you want to know something. They deserved it. They were playing dirty there for a while. And let's be honest, they are just jealous of where the Capitals are. They realize that their season is over, and they're out there to try play spoiler. Sheary scores an empty netter with 12:48 left on the clock. And that's what I was talking about. How crazy is that? I mean, it's just taking a concept, like I say, Dean Evison is the one that's best known for that this year. But 12:48 left on the clock, he pulls Merzlikins out there, and Sheary said, thank you very much. I will score another goal here. Puts the Caps up 6-2, and Nationwide Arena begins to clear out. Sheary's goal. He has 4 goals in his last 8. So just all the offensive power is just humming along for this Washington Capitals team. It's just a real pleasant surprise. And then Evgeny Kuznetsov, another pleasant surprise, who had that off season last year. He had COVID issues and some personal issues, but Kuznetsov gets his 20th goal of the season. It was a power play goal, puts the Caps up 7-2. And let's get honest, at this point, that was putting the fork in the Columbus Blue Jackets. That was pretty much it. And at that point, the Nationwide Arena was pretty much emptied out. And, just keep going on in their winning ways, because guess what? They have to be up for it, because they are playing the Carolina Hurricanes tonight. And they are in first place, and they are just on a winning streak as well. So, I mean, the Capitals have got to be ready. I think that the biggest thing that is holding them back is goaltending, but we'll talk about that in the later segment here. But first, we are going to talk about the trade deadline. And so on Monday, March 21st at 3:30 Eastern, tune in to Locked On Fantasy Hockey's live deadline reaction show to get all the on-ice and fantasy betting analysis you need from host Steele Roden and Flip Livingstone, with appearances from our roster of local team experts. Plus, catch our very own Locked On Capitals for our immediate reaction to the Capitals' moves. And it's a theme, and it's a question I've posed all week. Do you think the Capitals will be buyers or sellers? It's going to be interesting to see if how they've played as of late changes anything. It may, I think that they're going to still try to chip away and go after Pittsburgh and go after New York and try to get a better spot in the standings. So, I mean, anything is possible. A lot of the opinion that Brian McClellan and, to me, to a certain extent, has changed. If they keep winning, I think that just changes everything. I think that when he made those comments at that time, that the Capitals weren't doing that good. So that's why he made that assessment at that time. But like I said, now things have changed, and it remains to be seen. Monday should be very interesting. All right, in this next segment, we are going to talk about TJ Oshie. TJ Oshie leaves the Blue Jackets game in the third period with a lower body injury. And, TJ Oshie is a guy that leaves everything out there. He's not the biggest guy on the ice, but don't tell him that. He will take on any guy. I remember that play when he went after Thornton and he grinded his head into the corner. But just the ultimate athlete in TJ Oshie. And if he is out, then it's going to be next man up for the Washington Capitals, as it's always been all season. TJ Oshie's had an unlucky injury-prone season. Now on St. Patrick's Day, he's out again after suffering a lower body injury late in Thursday's Capital Blue Jackets game. The severity is unknown. The Capitals PR announced the news in the third period of the game. And, like I say, he's just had a rough go of it his whole career for the most part. When he's hot, he's hot. But I got to be honest, and I love TJ Oshie. He's a great player, but he is a bit injury prone. But I think that to a certain extent, like I say, he is that way because he leaves it all out there on the ice. And when you do that, you're more susceptible to getting injured. And I wouldn't have him any other way. If he was more of a reserve guy that didn't play and mix it up, then he probably wouldn't be revered as one of the greater players in the NHL. So, we're just pulling for TJ Oshie and hope that Osh gets back soon. Oshie only had 3 shifts in the third period. His final twirl on the ice lasted 19 seconds. So not looking too good for TJ Oshie for Friday. So hopefully, maybe there's a chance he could come back. I mean, sometimes you don't really know till the next day, and it's all up to the team trainers and doctors to assess those kind of things. Oshie appeared to injure himself on that final shift as he skated towards the end boards in the offensive zone. Oshie attempted a double skate stop that appeared to go wrong. Oshie's right ankle went sideways awkwardly. Oshie admittedly knew something was wrong and skated off the ice, and maybe that was the best thing to do for TJ Oshie to do because, sometimes if you end up staying out there, you just end up making it worse. So good for him to have that foresight and just that common sense that, hey, I'm injured, and, it's probably the best thing if I get off the ice here. So lower back, groin, hamstring, pick your poison. NBC Sports' Alan May said after the game that, he's kind of just had all sorts of injuries his entire career, but you know what that means? It's next man up for Mike Veggioni. Mike Veggioni was the guy that they called up, a couple days ago here with Lars Eller going out in COVID protocol. So this is his chance to shine, and let's hope that Veggioni gets a shot out on the ice, and let's hope he can score a goal. The Capitals have one extra forward on the road trip, Mike Veggioni, who was called up earlier this week from the Hershey Bears. Oshie had played a pivotal role on the second line since returning from an upper body injury he suffered on January 15th, scoring 7 points in the last 10 games. The 35-year-old right wing recorded a primary assist on Anthony Mantha's breakaway goal in the first period against the Columbus Blue Jackets. So the Washington Capitals will definitely miss TJ Oshie on the ice, and we hope him a speedy recovery. So tomorrow or tonight, actually I'm recording this the night before, so it will be tomorrow, but Friday night, the Washington Capitals take on the Carolina Hurricanes, and they are a big opponent. And the Washington Capitals beat them the last time they played, so there's no reason to believe that they won't this time. I hope that if they could find a way to put Vitek back in the net, I think that would really help a lot because I have a hard time putting my faith in Ilya Samsonov, and unless they make any moves between now and then, that is who's going to be out there. Generally, they don't like to go back-to-backs with the same goalie, but since more things are on the line, maybe Peter Laviolette will do that. It remains to be seen, but that is the Locked On Capitals podcast for today. Now make your second listen Locked On Fantasy Hockey. Host Steele Roden and Flip Livingstone help you become the expert of your fantasy league. It's free and available wherever you get your podcasts. So thank you for joining me again for Locked On Capitals, and I will talk to you guys again next time. Thank you for watching.